We are joined by 2020 Velma Jackson graduate, member of the 2020 Velma Jackson Hall of Fame, uh, nursing student at Alcorn, just so many things in your resume, Raja Johnson. We got a room full here at Velma Jackson. We thank you so much for joining us. And we're recording this for all of our junior and senior class here at Velma Jackson as well. So we appreciate you really rushing back from your things you have going on today. So why don't you start by telling us about your high school experience, what all you did here, because you were involved in so much stuff, just choir, TSA, cheerleading, just so much, and then how that led to you starting out your college career at Southern Miss.
Okay. Well, thank you y'all for having me. I was really excited to do this today. So back in high school, I was involved in a lot of things. I was involved in cheer, beta club, student government, senior class office. I was the president of our class, technology student association, fellow Christian athletes. And I was also a homecoming queen back in 2019. So I was in a lot of things.
And you left out choir because you were a great singer as well.
Oh yeah, and choir. Can't forget choir. So yeah, it was I was very busy. I tried to keep myself busy. I wanted to get it as involved as much things that I can, and back in high school, joining all of those things really prepared me for, college life, because in college there is basically the same thing. It's many curricular activities that you can get into and join into just so you can make your college experience better and maybe college experience for other people better. So I guess those getting involved in those many things, kind of prepared me for college life. And, whenever I saw something, I tried to see if I can get in it. In freshman year, freshmen weren't allowed to do as much things as the upperclassmen were able to do. So at USM, I found my way. I found the way, to do a couple of things, but, it was kind of restricted a little bit, but it's okay.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute. I already know what you're talking about, but we just got through talking about the cost of college. So obviously, and we'll get into your transfer to Alcorn here in a minute, but you've paid, or I'll let you talk about how you've paid for it. But, we're pushing the ACT. They're getting so sick of hearing about it, so sick of practicing it. But tell us about how you were able to take care of your, obvious for everybody, extremely expensive college costs going to Southern Miss as a freshman.
Well, okay, so I would say that I know that a lot of students are tired of hearing about the ACT, and you're tired of hearing people push it, but I've come to realize that in college, in high school, when stuff is repeated, that obviously means it's important. So I would say that the higher that your ACT score is, the better chance that you can get funds from that college to help pay for your tuition. But for me, at USM, I had a 21 on the ACT. So as long as you had a 21, I was able to get an academic achievement scholarship for those. Hey, I just didn't want to. But yeah. So for me, that was kind of how I paid for college. And also in high school, teachers were also, they would try to push scholarships, and scholarships help too. And I know, some of the scholarships ask you to write an essay. Just go ahead and write the essay, and, save the essay, because some of those essays, scholarships really ask the same questions. So you can save those essays and use them and tweak them however you want to, but you're able to use them again.
And it's the same thing for resumes, because we've started on the cover letter and we're getting into the resume, but it's important to have that resume developed, because a lot of these scholarships are going to be looking for that. And then and we'll get to this in a second, but some of these student organizations on these campuses are going to want a scholarship as well. So I want a resume as well. So having that developed and ready is extremely important. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Now, we'll get to Alcorn in a second, but while you were at USM, you did become an Alpha Kappa Alpha, which is, congratulations on that too, by the way. It's a great organization. And we have several teachers here that are members, but I think it's important that we have several students, especially we have some seniors here with me now. They're interested in the MPHC life. all of the colors and the dance and the strut and the strolling and all that's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to watch. It's a fun to be a part of, but there's so much more to it than that. So why don't you talk a little bit about what all AKA does and the kind of students they look for and the requirements, because you got to have a GPA and you got to have some community service.
Yes. So, okay, depending upon the school that you go to, there will always be a GPA requirement. And I would say that you need to be on top of whatever GPA they want. Try to make it higher than they expect it to be, because once you join an NPAC organization, that becomes a part of your college experience as well. So you're trying to like juggle school and the organization that you're in. It's not just, strutting and strolling and then you done for the day with that. No, it also, we have a lot of opportunities for people on our campus. I know we have a scholarship department. We have a department that takes care of all of the charity work that we do. There's some departments that deal with like student involvement. Like you try to get students on campus involved, get them out of their rooms, because some people are introverts. And it's just it's really a lot. It's fun. It looks fun, but it's also a lot of hard work. But I promise you, like once you join the organization that you wish, it's a sense of fulfillment on the inside. Because not only did you, make it that far, but you also, those are letters that you wear for life. Those are letters that you represent you for life. So also when you go to college and if you want to get in these organizations, it's best to, try to be low about it. Like don't go out your way. I mean, you can party or have fun or whatever, but don't, get crazy with it, because NPAC people they're looking for recruiters. Like they're looking for people to join their organization. And if you're not giving or portraying, I should say, the person that they think should be in their organization, they won't pick you. So I also had to, deal with that. Like a lot of the times I was kind of like laid back in the corner. You wouldn't see me. I tried to keep a low profile. And I kept my grades up. If I felt like I need to study for something and my friends want to go out, I had to tell them, sorry, y'all, I feel like I'm not ready for this test, so let me go study. And, they'll be like, oh, Roger, you ain't fun. Well, my grade's an A. So I had fun when I got that.
Too, and you talk about GPA requirements, because I'm talking about in this class here, you can use the easier classes to boost your GPA. If you're going to struggle in organic chemistry and you're like, I may make a C, make an A in something else, balance that GPA out, and you got a 3.0.
And you can also ask upperclassmen, if you want to take a class and you found out an upperclassman already took that class, you can ask them, was this easy? Was it hard? And they could tell you, well, it was easy for this class because I had this teacher. And so you can ask if you can have that teacher for the class that you're asking for, and then it'll just make your life easier. So yeah, you're right. That does play a factor. I would try to get that done too.
Yeah. Now, one thing you've done, and we haven't had any guests at all that have done what you've done, and that's transfer universities. You started out at Southern Miss. Now you're in nursing school at Alcorn State University on their Natchez campus, which a lot of people don't know is separate from the Lorma campus, but it's right there in Natchez. A great nursing program, and congratulations on being in that. I know you literally just started this week. So talk a little bit about your decision to transfer, and then talk about what it takes to get into nursing school, because I don't think a lot of people realize there's a long list of prereqs before you even step foot in a nursing classroom.
Okay, so for me, at USM, there were a lot of prerequisites that I had to achieve before I could start the nursing program. But the reason why I decided to transfer was because I was looking at really just like, I don't want to put my business, but I was looking pretty much for something that I felt like was for me. I don't want to discourage anybody from the USM program, but it was kind of like I was getting some negative feedback from their nursing program from students who were already in there. And, I I'm a type of student where I need certain things in order to pass, or I need to understand certain things in order to pass. So not only did I apply for USM's nursing program, I also applied to two other nursing programs just so I can, weigh my options. Because when you're in college, you don't need to be afraid to try to maneuver or try to, worry about staying with friends, or, worry about, how I'm gonna feel sad because I'm leaving. It's really about your career and what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And I know I didn't want to, stay behind. I wanted to go ahead and get through and graduate when I'm supposed to, but that's just me. It's okay if you don't. That's just how, I am. I'm wired. So, I felt like this was a good decision. And also to get into nursing school. Now, the requirements are different for each nursing school. So for USM, for example, they require you to have a certain GPA. I want to say it's a 3.0 with a 21. I want to say that's what it is. And they have the BSN program. And they also require you to take a test before you can, they accept you. And on the test, they want you to make a certain grade on the test. But for Alcorn, for example, there's no test required. You just need to have a 21 on the ACT and a 3.0. I think the same thing. It's basically the same requirements, but you don't have to take the test. And then also the prerequisites. I know I have 86 hours of prerequisite classes, and that's including from high school, because when I was a senior, I took college classes. So yeah, those have been accumulating over the past 3 years. So I have 86 hours now. So there's no prerequisite classes that I'm stuck with. I'm just going straight into nursing.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I think, and we've had students here, they get into college and they don't like it, and it winds up being, they stay there and stick it out, and it winds up being pointless. So I think it's important for these students to realize, if you get somewhere and it's not a good fit, it's okay to transfer. Especially if you're staying in the same program. Much of that stuff, the courses are going to transfer. You're not going to be in college any longer, and you need to be in the best environment for you, because it's not like you went to the other side of the world. You're still right down the road. You're still pretty close to home. You're still in the state of Mississippi, so it's not like you had to go far away. So I know that's a tough decision, but it's like you said, it's the best decision for your learning environment. Now, before I get to some of these questions, I do want to also talk about, because we've had a lot of HBCU people. I want to talk about the PWI experience, because coming from an all-black school, a small school at that, to go to a school where I went, and I told y'all about some of my stuff I dealt with there. When you go into class and there's several hundred people there, it can be overwhelming, especially coming from like we have 12 in here with us right now. You come from a class of 12 to a class of 500, it's a little bit different. So it's easy to get lost in the shuffle. So why don't you talk a little bit about how you dealt with that, being a freshman at a large university?
Okay, so for me, it was kind of different. I didn't experience the part that you're talking about till my sophomore year, because when I was a freshman, COVID was still kind of like high. So most of my classes were online. I think I only had like one in-person class, and in that in-person class, it wasn't a lot of people either. So my freshman year was kind of like, the same as like if I were in high school, as when dealing with the amount of people. Now, when I got in sophomore year, that's when school opened up. And that's when I walked into the classroom. There was a whole bunch of people. And I'm like, okay, this is different. But it's really not as bad as I thought it was going to be. You just go in there and, you do what the teacher says. And if you have any questions, the environment, it's a safe environment. So if you want to ask questions, you can. They're not going to, say, oh, that's a stupid question, or why would you ask that? They're gonna, they're gonna help you out, even in a room full of 500 people or so. So it wasn't really awful for me. It was just like a change, something different. That's all that it was.
Yeah, but it really is. I mean, it comes down to organization, time management, study skills, and you have to be there. It's not one of those things where you miss class and you're going to get the stuff. But I do have some questions I want to get to, and some of these are really good. The first one is Rodarius Smith, who's a junior, and I love asking this question, but he's asking it for me. What are some things you wish you knew now that you did not learn in high school?
Whew. let me see. I wish that I knew how important it was to fill out scholarships um, and financial aid. Cause as a high school student, I wasn't taking it as serious as I should have. But in the real world, it's crucial, and to know that after you get out of school, you're gonna have to pay some of the money back. It's not as, it's not a joyous moment. So if I could go back and like do as many scholarships as I could have and did my financial aid earlier, I would, because it would have been so much better for me. I was really playing around with it. So please, I know that they keep repeating it, but I'm telling you this, I'm trying to give y'all advice because I've been through it. So please go ahead and do them scholarships. I know that it's strenuous, but please do them.
Yeah, and it's like I said, you never know what financial aid you could be you could qualify for. Now this is
Mhm.
Keisha Daughtry. She's a sophomore, and she asked, "What do you consider the most challenging aspect of nursing?"
Okay, so I haven't started nursing school yet. So I would say for now, it's getting all this stuff together. There are a lot of things that you need to get done before you can start. They ask you for so many things, and it's like you're hoping that you get all of the things ready, because if you come and you're missing like one thing, you can't start. So that's, I would say that's the most crucial part as of now. But when I actually start nursing school, hopefully I can come back and tell you how it actually is. So that's all I can
I
say.
mean, and there's stuff. I mean, it is go no go. If you don't have it, you're
Yeah.
waiting for the next semester to start. This is Jade
Yeah.
Green. She's a sophomore as well, and she asked, "How do you manage your budget in college?"
Okay, so back when I was in USM, I became a RA there. So it paid for my tuition, room and board. So and then for RAs, you had to work at a desk, and basically you would get paid bi-weekly for working at the desk. So the cash that I got there, I would kind of save and only use when I really needed it, or like, for food, which most of my money went towards. But now that I'm in school and I'm not an RA anymore, it's kind of like I would, any dollars that I get, I really try to save, because unfortunately out here in the Natchez campus, they don't have a cafeteria. So students around here, we have to go to restaurants and spend money, or when you go to the store, stack up on a whole bunch of food, noodles, cheese sandwiches. So it's not going to be the most elegant meal, but it'll get you full. And I guess I'm just going to have to learn how to, just save money for emergencies only. Because a problem I have is spending money on food, because I'm a very picky eater. So, it's gonna be a big change from going to where I was to where I am now, but I'm gonna make it work. I'm gonna find out a way.
Yeah, and you talked about being an RA. Not only do you get the private room, I encourage, because I had an on-campus job. I encourage everybody to look into the on-campus job, because one, it's going to be a little money in your pocket, and you can also put it toward federal work study, which goes toward tuition. But also, they're going to work around your class schedule. So it's not going to be like working at the mall, and they're going to want you to come in and close until 10 o'clock when you got a test the next day. These campus jobs work around your class schedule and have a relationship with the university to know that academics come first. So that is I'm a huge proponent for the campus work experience if your schedule and budget allows. So I'm glad you did that. Now here's one. I don't think you know this guy. It's Kwame Johnson, and he's a sophomore. Yes. How is it different being at Alcorn than Southern Miss?
Okay, so far from the Natchez campus, now not the main campus. Well, I can talk about the main campus too. On the Natchez campus, it's very quiet here. At USM, you're in the city and you're right off of, city limits and the highway. So, at night, sometimes you'll hear cars passing by, or, like horns. It's not as quiet at USM as it is here, but here it's very quiet, and it's homey here. It's very like in a closed-in space. And I have suite mates now. So, we're like a little family up in here. We're all in here together. And then on the main campus, apart from USM, the main campus is in a wooded area. So it's like a lot of, which is also different than USM. Because again, it's in the city. So I would just say like the scenery is different. Because I haven't started any classes, I can't tell you how, classes and stuff are different, but it's just so far that I've noticed the scenery is different.
Yeah, and another thing that we hadn't talked about is that even though Alcorn is HBCU, the nursing program is very diverse. It is not. There's several men in the program, several white, Hispanic, European from all over the world right there in the Natchez program. And I think a lot of people need to understand that is that it's a program where you would have to learn to work with people of different cultures and everything. So that's I always say historically black doesn't mean exclusively black. And there's a
Right.
I've had some friends that went there, male, female, black, white, and purple, and they all said the same things about it. It's a very diverse program.
I would agree.
All right, I just got one more from the students. This is Jakia Luckett. She's a sophomore, and she asked, I'm sorry, I apologize. She's a junior. She corrected me. She's a junior. And she asked, what made you want to pursue nursing as a career?
Oh, okay. I love this story. Okay. When I was little, my mama used to tell me that our grandma got sick with cancer, ovarian cancer. And she was telling me that when she went to the hospital, the only people that made grandma smile was her and the nurses, or family members and the nurses. And mama would explain to me how well they treated grandma with care. They were so nice to her. And they really made her last few months, here on earth better. And ever since I've heard that story, I just always had nursing in my mind. And then when I got older, I did a couple of more research on it. And when I go to the doctors, nurses are always nice to me. I haven't met a mean nurse yet. And they made me feel more comfortable than when I already go in there. Sometimes you got to go in and get shots and you're not feeling like getting a shot. You're kind of scared. But the nurses, they really made me feel better. And by the end of the day after the shot, I was like, oh, it wasn't nothing. The nurses, they calmed my nerves a little bit. So, and after that, I got into high school and I kept, it's just nursing never left my mind. Like, that's just something that I always been into. And there was never a plan B for me. Like nursing, I have to become a nurse. Like that's the plan. That's what I'm going to be. There's nothing else that I can see myself being. So, when I'm that passionate about something, I know I have to go for it because there's no way that I feel this passionate about it and I'm not supposed to do it.
Now, did you do the science program at MCTC as well?
What'd you say?
Did you do the health science program at MCTC as well?
Health science program? I didn't.
Okay.
I did not.
I knew you were involved in a lot of stuff. It was tough to fit in the schedule, all the stuff you were in. So I would just remember if you did or not.
I didn't, but all of the stuff that they learned from MCTC, I kind of already knew, like, because my mom was a nurse, so like she was teaching me the same thing they were learning, because they would come back and tell me, and I'd be like, oh yeah, my mama showed me how to do that. So, I didn't know, but I should have.
But again, it's a matter of fitting in your schedule. But especially our freshmen and sophomores, I do encourage them to get involved in our MCTC program. But Roger, we're almost out of time, and thank you so much for fitting us in your schedule, short notice. Nothing but great things are going to happen for you down there, and I speak for so many people. Just say we're so proud to call you an alumni. So proud to have called you one of my old students, and I'm just really looking forward to what's going to happen. And thank you for the things you talked about, because you're saying the same things I said. So it's always good when somebody else says what I'm saying. And your brother's he's smiling pretty big over here. He's really proud of you too.
Goofball. Hey, KJ.
All right. Well, I'll talk to you soon. I know you got a busy day.
All right. Thank y'all for having me.
All right. See you.
Bye.